if a CTE leader, an education leader in general, does not have a policy around AI wearables, that a student could literally have be kind of whispering and be like, can you see this math problem? Help me with this problem, whatever it might be. And it will actually see and help them walk through a math problem that the teacher can't hear it responding to.
I'm just curious to see how this helps them shape narrative or, just any of those things.
And thinking about the reputation of some of the tech giants, I don't know if you're following along with the lawsuit that's happening right now between Elon Musk and Sam Altman, and the judge even asking Elon Musk, told him he's not allowed to talk about existential events anymore.
You are listening to the AI Brief for Education Leaders, presented by the Global CTE Podcast with your hosts, Sylvester and Rachael.
Welcome, our friends, to AI Brief number 2. We are excited. The feedback, Rachael, has been amazing so far from our first AI Brief for Educators. I don't know, what have you heard since we talked, just on the feedback side before we get into our episode?
Yeah, it's definitely something that's so needed. I hear all the time that people asking, how do I keep up with what's happening? And having a monthly podcast, I think, is fantastic. I mean, of course, nothing's really happened since we last met. AI has been pretty boring. There's been no news.
No new news on the AI front. So, which I think is hilarious that I'm like texting you and DMing you like, did you see this? Did you see this? Like, I'm like a month. Like, it seems like a year has gone past with some of these updates.
Oh, gosh. I remember a few years ago when Peter Diamandis said that, actually it was Ray Kurzweil said that we're going to see as much progress in the next 10 years as we've seen in the past century, in the past 100 years. And at the time, that was hard to fathom. But man, it's happening. I mean, it's happening fast. I think about some of the stuff I saw last night or even this morning. Saw where, I don't know if you saw where the MIT, it was a team from MIT within 48 hours had put together, it was like a competition, put together this AI exoskeleton that can use electrical impulses to guide your arms. And I just had a tennis lesson. I'm like, man, my coach would really benefit from this, because I can imagine how frustrating I am when he's doing shadow swings and I'm left-handed, he's right-handed, and he's trying to show me the correct way to improve my forehand, hitting it out further. But what if I had this exoskeleton that was actually guiding my movements based on what that human plus AI, what he's telling it to do in order to get that stroke to where I have that muscle memory, to be able to be more efficient. I mean, it's wild. I mean, some of it's it's just like, okay, do we want it to go in that direction? But it's going, whether we want it to or not. It's exciting.
Yeah. No, it really is moving fast. I'm just saying, I was thinking about in our last conversation, we were talking about, people buying the Mac minis and, now it's the agents have elevated even more. I'm hearing more people not just using OpenClaw, but, how they're using just some of the other tools that also offer agents, or even now the ease of use for agents in ChatGPT, so, lots to share. So what's top of mind for you right now?
Yeah. Okay. A question that I got last week, I was in Oregon, and actually, let me tell you something.
Okay.
The questions are getting so good. It used to be when I did a keynote or a talk and I would do a Q&A that people wouldn't have any questions. And in fact, right before I went on stage, I was talking to the executive director and I said, hey, I saw in our notes that we had talked about a Q&A. Do we have that set up? And he was like, let's skip it. And then Kevin Fleming, who of course, from Catapult, he was there and he's like, with a group this size, it's 500 people in more intimate settings, people have questions, but not in a group this size. So I'm like, all right, we're scratching the Q&A. Well, I forgot to take the slide out of my presentation. So then all of a sudden I'm like, Q&A. And I'm like, hey, Tom, do we have time for the Q&A? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So tons of hands raised to the point where fortunately I was sticking around for the day because we ran out of time. And then throughout the day, people were stopping me with different questions. But one of the questions I get frequently is, what tools are you using and for what? Sometimes people don't know where to start with what tools to use. So I'm curious, what tools are kind of your go-to, like your favorite tools that you're using right now?
Okay. So I'm in the transition right now. Okay. So I'm so loyal to everything OpenAI and ChatGPT, right? So that's my go-to number one. However, recently I've added Claude to my desktop based on our conversation in our last AI brief for educators to figure out, let me play with the agent and see if I can have it do some work for me. And so I downloaded Claude to the desktop, right? I have the Pro edition, so it's the paid version, and I have it running some in the co-work phase. I have it actually running some scheduled tasks for me. So I don't know how you feel about this or our listeners, but I gave it access to my Gmail account. Okay. So it has access to my Gmail account and a folder also on my desktop, one folder that it has access to. So it's running a daily Gmail triage, telling me what messages I need to respond to, high priority messages, and it goes back over the last 3 days. That's just what I have it set. And it sends me a report every morning at 8 a.m. and it's pretty good. And then it will actually create, it won't send the email for you. However, it asked me, did I want it to, make a draft? And so it wrote a draft for one particular email and it put it in my drafts folder. So then I could go into my Gmail, edit it, and send it off. So I'm excited to see what that looks like moving forward, but it's helped me to actually get a little time back. I do receive a lot of emails, as you know, I'm sure you do, but it helped to prioritize the ones that, prioritize those for me. So I'm working on trying to figure out what task it can do. And so that's like if my first real move with the AI agent. Claude is using my desktop, was on my desktop and doing the triage of my email right now. So that's the big one for me that's new, that I'm excited to see where that goes.
Okay, so I, like you, and our last conversation was a little bit nervous. I was giving it access just to an older account that has nothing important. That's where my spam goes. And it started feeling more comfortable. And then I heard Allie Miller, who I follow on LinkedIn. She's fantastic. And was listening to one of her talks while I was getting ready the other day. And she was talking about all the different things that she has her agents doing for her using agentic AI, while she's sleeping, all these things that are already done when she wakes up. And I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to give it a shot. And I've read some reviews showing that Codex, so the ChatGPT version of Claude's agentic AI was worth trying out, that it's now they kind of go back and forth with who's winning the AI race from day to day. So I went ahead and downloaded Codex. And it's pretty impressive. Like I have it set up so that it will not send the emails like you, where it'll already draft out responses. It'll let me know priority emails that I may have missed. I'm having it right now, instead of deleting junk mail, I'm having it put all of the junk mail into a folder, because I don't want to give it agency to delete anything, because sometimes it might think something's junk that I personally don't think is junk. So it's really helping to minimize my inbox like overflow of what I need to go through and to see what the priorities are. But so far it's been so good. Now you do have to think about, is there like alignment drift is a thing? So what if your agent thinks that it like goes rogue and does something it's not supposed to do? But I think by keeping it very contained, we're okay. And worst case scenario, you start fresh and reach out to people and let them know the emails got deleted. You know, I hope that doesn't happen, but so far it's fantastic. It's been working great.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think we're still in both of you and I both are in the early phases of like, let's test it. I went a little further. This is my email account. So it's not It's not like an old one. This is like one of my legit email accounts that's, no, it has.
Oh, no. I now am using it on my real email account.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that was it. That was one of those like, okay, let's just do this. Let's give it a shot. And it's pretty impressive. So can I share my screen? Do you want to see something I used it for last week?
Yeah, let's see.
All right. Okay. So let me go ahead and there we go. All right. So this is something that I use Codex for to research, because I was going my breakout session was on partnerships and on business and industry. Some places call it your occupational advisory councils, your OACs. Mm-hmm. It depends on state what you call it. But I had it for that workshop create basically an app that by research some of the schools that are doing a lot and that are making their meeting notes public. And first of all, this is a first draft prompt. This is what it came out with the first draft. I could go back in and ask for some tweaks, but this worked fine for what we were doing for that workshop. But you have a dashboard. I would go back and ask it to clean up the lines because it's a little bit messy here, but it shows the program area, the different schools, relevance, having the right people at the table. So you can do this to mix to be able to say, okay, here's who I have to kind of figure out where you might have some weaknesses. You can also, for your run of the show, you can figure out how much time, like based on how much time you have, how much you should spend on different areas. It has some give first moves, some things that you can incorporate in there. And then it also has links to each of the programs that it used for its exemplars. Then it also, you have your, AI studio, just a prompt studio, just some cool thing, a share out brief, some cool things that you can do, which I thought this was pretty impressive considering that it was the first draft of it that I could then build on this and go to the next level with it.
This is incredible, Rachel. And for someone who's listening, can you share or just a little idea of the prompt? Like how much information did you give it to create something like that?
Okay. Now I want to say this is kind of a messy prompt, but I will share it with you. Okay. Like the prompt could have definitely been cleaned up. And for the people listening in, if you're ever struggling with getting the correct results, consider even using AI to help you with your prompt. Say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do and help me create a better prompt. Like I'll sometimes do that with ChatGPT, have it clean up my prompt and then use the prompt in Replit, which is an app builder to try to get the desired results because I don't speak the language to get it to where it needs to be with the programming and whatnot.
You built that on Replit?
No, this was actually built using Codex, but sometimes going to the whole prompting piece, I'll sometimes use ChatGPT to help me create a better prompt for Replit. Okay. All right. So for this one though, which is through Codex, what you just saw for the exemplar, create an app let me see. Actually, it was really messy. I said, create an app for a program area that is popular in Oregon and use a specific school that has some public facing information about their partnership and then share hypothetical samples for employer feedback. This will be used as an exemplar for a presentation on Thursday for Beyond the Compliance Trap, building an industry partnerships that move the needle. And then it gives the description of the presentation. And it says, make sure that you include some easy wins, include using artificial intelligence tools, and also show some exemplars beyond what I included in the description. And that was it. No coding, a very messy prompt that could have been better. And it still was able to find some exemplar programs and create a usable tool.
Seeing what you just created and knowing that was the prompt. I think that's encouraging for some people who are listening. Cause I know people are like, what do I say? What's the right prompt or how much information do I need to give it? I like how you referenced even elevating the prompt. I've done that as well with building some apps on Replit, to ask ChatGPT, because I almost wonder if you put in your chat, your AI chat, I want to build this in Codex. Tell me what like make the best prompt for me to get the best result from Codex before you even put that into Codex.
That's a great idea. And then also including asking it to not make up information. That's something I've been doing lately to make sure that I don't have any hallucinations. But I'll say, if you don't know the information, say, I don't know, or just don't include it. Don't connect the dots. Don't fill in the gaps with information if it's not something that you have. And also making sure that it's using resources that are grounded and vetted resources, not something that's finding on a Reddit feed.
No, absolutely. I do want to, you mind if I switch gears for a minute?
Sure, please.
Another hot topic that I saw that I thought was super interesting. That OpenAI purchased, here it is. Yeah. OpenAI acquired popular tech talk show in the low hundreds of millions of dollars. So I think that was a very interesting signal to me. I'm trying to pull it up here to find the article here. So I think it was TBPN. Yeah. Yep. OpenAI acquires TBPN. Did you hear about this?
You sent me the link, and it was interesting because the amount of money that they were making through their partners, through their advertisements was, I want to say it was millions, like at least like $4 million a month or something. And then they sold it for such a low amount. It was surprising that they sold it for the price point that they did.
Well, the fact that OpenAI acquired it, some people, we don't have the exact numbers, but they're saying in the low hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think TBPN's revenue, let me see, because let's see, so we can speak facts here. Okay. The show generated approximately $5 million in ad revenue in 2025 and was on track for this year to exceed $30 million. And the OpenAI acquisition, they paid, people were saying hundreds of millions for their show. Now it's a daily show, but they're talking all things technology, bringing founders on. I just thought that was a very interesting insight. One, where the market is going as new media. When people talk about new media, which I think that's something for our CTE folks to think about. Like, yes, we have our traditional media outlets, but new media where you can go on a podcast, long form content, cut it into clips, like all of those things, and have a more focused audience. It's kind of it's a new thing. And then also to me, it spoke to how people are viewing OpenAI, and Sam Altman, in particular, in kind of like in a negative way in a lot of cases. So, I'm just curious to see how this helps them shape narrative or, just any of those things.
And thinking about the reputation of some of the tech giants, I don't know if you're following along with the lawsuit that's happening right now between Elon Musk and Sam Altman, and the judge even asking Elon Musk, told him he's not allowed to talk about existential events anymore, that this isn't about debating. This is about sticking to the narrative of what the lawsuit's about versus discussing whether or not AI is good for humanity. That's some intense conversations happening.
Yeah. Again, like you said, nothing new happened in AI this last month. No.
Wait.
There you go.
So here's something new. I have my Meta Ray-Ban display glasses. Can you see anything in the lenses?
I see nothing.
Okay, so right now I am able to see, like, if I wanted to, I could actually make it into a teleprompter and pre-plan through the app, put in what I'm going to be talking about, and actually have a little teleprompter that it looks like it's like this far in front of me, but it's in my lens. I can just click here, take a little video or take a picture. Lots I can do. I mean, they're pretty bulky, but this is the worst version they're ever going to be. Like, this is going to get better. I don't know if you've heard Jamie Cassip talk, and like years ago, he would talk about how this is the worst version of technology we'll ever use. So true. Like, this is the worst version of these AI glasses we're ever going to use. Pretty bulky, but they're pretty impressive what you can do with them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's, I have not purchased my Ray-Ban, glasses yet, but I'm like, I was just in the mall, last week, and I walked by the sunglass hut or something. And so I was like, is it time? Is it time for me? But that's interesting. You can do a teleprompter.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I can see my text messages coming up. I can have it send a text message for me. I can make a phone call. And I don't know if could you hear anything from the glasses?
No, I couldn't hear anything, and I couldn't see, I could see your eyes. That's it.
Okay. So when I put them on, it started talking and I can hear it. But think about in education, if a CTE leader, an education leader in general, does not have a policy around AI wearables, that a student could literally have be kind of whispering and be like, can you see this math problem? Help me with this, whatever it might be. And it will actually see and help them walk through a math problem that the teacher can't hear it responding to. So, or, there's also privacy concerns if someone's wearing their glasses into a restroom. And while I'm going to turn on the video for a moment just to be upfront about it. So you can see a light because right now it's taking a video. But someone can disable the light. So it's so important that as leaders think about AI and their policies, that they're very deliberate about referencing. And I can share some sample language that I've used when I've helped districts with their policy and making sure they address AI wearables, whether it's a necklace that's always listening and sending messages to the student through their watch or whatever it might be. That you're thinking about, okay, how could this be used to create equity? Like there might be some AI wearables that you would want for someone's IEP, or there may be some that, hey, unless you have this in your IEP, this is completely banned because we do not want privacy concerns or, the misuse of technology. Yeah.
And I just did a quick Google search on it. I'm seeing some examples of that, for this year. Palo Alto High School prohibited smart glasses and other wearables, classifying them as mobile communications devices. So they're seeing them in the same lens as smart watches or cell phones. Prince William County Public Schools established specific guidance, policy 729, banning AI glasses, classifying them as cell phones subject to bell-to-bell storage. So
see, and because if you it has to be in policy and people need to be able to recognize it, because even with the display ones, like I have the band on and I'm able to without saying anything, because some people are like, oh, well, you can't, you'd hear them talking. I can use my band to do like little movements and not say a word, but I can tap to double click on something that I'm seeing in the screen, or I can move forward or backwards or dial in to focus more on something. So it's just using my motions from my hand to be able to do what I want, what I'm asking it to do without anyone being able to see on my facial expressions that something's happening.
Yeah. That's a lot. And like we just said, this is the worst version of AI, the worst version of tech, the worst version of those glasses, so it's only going to become more discreet and, and more powerful.
Which is exciting because I absolutely love wearing them when I'm going around on my zero turn mower, and I'm able to be talking to my glasses because I have to, I can't use my hands, but I can ask it to play music, or I can respond to a text message, or say, hey, Meta, take a video. Like my 2 dogs came on my property from another property, and they were just out, roaming around. They'd gotten loose and come on my property. And I'm like, hey, Meta, take a video of what's happening here. Fortunately, it didn't escalate. And my dog corrected one of them and they went back home. But, you have evidence that, the dogs were fine. Nothing happened.
Yeah, that's what did I see in line with the AI glasses? It was a video on social media where a lady was at a store and she was checking out with her credit card. This is a whole nother conversation. She was checking out with her credit card and she put her card in the device. And when she pulled it out, she said she saw another keyboard under the keypad. And so she was concerned. She was like, she went and got the manager and they're playing with the keypad And sure enough, it was like one of those scammer devices that someone had added onto the keypad, but she had her Ray-Ban, her Meta glasses on, and she's like, I have the whole thing recorded and I'll be sharing this with the police. So I just, it's like, everything's happening in real time these days.
So there's pros and cons to every aspect of AI. One thing I do want to point out is the equity piece, because, this is, it's a business expense for me because I'm researching AI, and I believe it was with taxes around $800. So, think about the technology that I have available that not everyone does, or within the school system. If one student is able to buy the pro version of Claude, which I don't know if you got the $100 or the $200 version, because, well, there's also a $20 version or a free version. So, if you're using the free version, it's already a year behind. And then, different people are having access to much better versions of artificial intelligence. And I'll add to that if a school is only training teachers on a specific tool that's available to them, that's important, because we want to make sure that it's FERPA, COPA, all the different compliances, depending on whether there's like a medical piece. It might even have HIPAA, some counseling, or a nurse is using it. It might have some additional parameters, but like, I can't go and demo how to use this technology, for the smart glasses, or using an advanced version of Codex or Claude to educators who don't have access to that. They'd be like, what are you doing? I'm not paying $100 a month to use this. Some may, some might not. But, it's like, how do we make sure people understand what the tools are capable of, and that they're able to prepare students for their AI future when it is kind of creating more of a digital divide?
It is. And this is a real thing when you speak of the equity piece of, are you using the free version? Someone else is using the $20 version versus the $200 version. And someone doesn't even have access to a mobile device to use it, right, on a regular basis. So, this is going to continue to be a real conversation for all of our education leaders. And honestly, I think that equity piece, I think that's a good place for us to probably wrap this one up, for today. Something for us to think about, like, how are we creating an equitable situation with AI for our school communities? It's definitely something to think about. Rachel, I'll give you the last word. Any parting?
Oh man, there's so much. I would just say that don't get overwhelmed. Like, it can seem so overwhelming when there's so much happening right now in AI, but that, I think, is going to prevent progress. I think we have to see clearly, see that, yes, there's going to be some hiccups along the way, but this isn't something that's going to get turned back. So how do we make sure that we are looking at it with eyes wide open, that we're not trying to gloss over that, yeah, there's some downsides, there's some ethical concerns, there's some real dangers involved, but also making sure that we are giving students a view for the future, that they can see this as, there's so many possibilities if they learn how to use these tools to their advantage and really put on their entrepreneurship hat and their computational thinking and be the problem solvers to figure out how to make this work for them and work for their communities and work for society as a whole.
There it is. We'll leave it there. If you enjoyed this episode of the AI Brief for Education Leaders, please share it with a friend or colleague who needs to see this. As Rachel said, don't be overwhelmed. Just try something new. Explore. Be curious about what's happening, so that we can create best practices for our students and prepare them for future success. Until the next episode, remember, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the AI Brief for Education Leaders. Be sure to like and subscribe to be the first to know about future episodes.